Welcome to Legends of the Ink. Well, I'm Dakota,
And I'm Jacky.
and today we are joined by Mike and Jess. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Hi.
So we always start out with a few questions talking about yourself. Mike, I'll start with you. What is your favorite Disney Lorcana card, and why?
It's definitely Baboom.
Why is it Baboom?
There's a story. So I've been running Purple Steel since Ursula's Return, since right after the Chicago DLC, where I tried running Ruby Sapphire and it didn't work. The discard was too strong, so I built Purple Steel to fight against discard because it was the only way to deal with the Buckies with things like Train's Decree. I also ran Babooms, and it became my signature to just Baboom everything. I didn't have to deal with aggro decks. It made me really happy at the time. Except we did have a situation at a set championship down south of us in Michigan that I accidentally ran 6 Babooms in my deck.
Ooh.
That seems like a problem.
It was a problem.
I mean, it sounds great.
I was 2-0 and one. I was 2-0 on the day and was 1 win into my third round. And if I won the third round, I could just draw through. And I was about to win, and I drew my 5th Baboom, and it was against a Amber Amethyst aggro deck. And so one of those things where I just sat there and looked at my opponent, and I just sat there and said, "Can I look at my ink?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I just want to check if there's a Baboom in there." And he goes, "There's no way you just drew a 5th Baboom." And there was a Baboom in there because I remembered inking it on like turn 1 because I drew 3 Babooms to start the match. So I just stood up and looked at him like, "I'm giving you this match. You're getting it 2-0. I'm going to self-report myself." So I went and self-reported myself right before lunch break at this set championship, and it was their first time running one of these, so it took them a solid 10 minutes to decide what to do with me. The agreement was I took the loss on the round, I self-reported myself, and I just sat there and said, "Look, I will tear up these 2 Babooms." I literally tore up 2 Babooms in front of them, so they knew I could never put them back in the deck, and threw them out in front of them. And I checked, I was running 62 cards with 2 extra Babooms because the night before I had tried to put I Find my Platinum in there and decided not to, and thought I had removed the Babooms, but I never did. So that's like one of my Game & Co. jerseys says Baboom 6 on the back of it. That is the joke and why that is there now.
All right.
That's awesome. Jess, what is your favorite card?
Ooh, my favorite is John Silver.
Ooh.
Yes, Pirates will forever have a little soft spot in my heart. Pirates, I started running back in Inklands whenever they first came out. They had a list that was Ruby Steel, and I put it together. I went to I think that was actually my first ever 1K. Second 1K. Went to that one, and for the first time ever, I made it to the top 8.
Nice.
In the 1K with my Pirates.
Nice.
So they will forever hold a little special place in my heart. And John Silver is one of the ones that, if people aren't familiar with the card, when you play him, he gets resist +1 and +1 lore for every location that you have in play. So it's a very quick and easy way to get some aggro out there and build up resist that's difficult to deal with. So to this day, I can run Pirates like nobody else can run Pirates. Other people have tried, and they can't get it. So
Love it.
And
this set, Azurite Sea, that was I was like vibrating with excitement. Pirates and
we bought so much Azurite
oh my
Sea
gosh.
this release. It's a problem. Like, Dakota, you just asked me to bring a few Calhouns. Why do you think I had so many spare Calhouns?
But way too many cases.
We bought way too many boxes and cases and packs. It was a problem.
We got foil John Silvers. That's all that matters.
You have a foil playset of legendary foil John Silver.
And I love them all fully.
And you pulled 3 of them.
Yeah.
What enchanteds did you get?
We've pulled Enchanted Tigger, the
Nice.
pirate. We've gotten that one. We got Baymax.
Baymax Enchanted
Nice.
we pulled.
I think that was the first one we pulled.
Yes, and I think we pulled another Enchanted. What was it?
I don't remember.
We also pulled the Enchanted Baymax. We got it at a party that we were in.
Yeah.
At a Lorcana party, and they were handing out the winning packs and stuff.
Yeah.
Jacky pulled Baymax. And we only both won one pack. And
That's amazing.
it was awesome.
We pulled the Tigger.
That's the
We
best.
literally pulled out of a random pack from Upkeep Games in Hell.
Nice.
It was I
Love
bought
it.
2 random packs and gave them to her as a surprise, and she was freaking out in a boba shop because there was an infinite Tigger in it. It was one of those
No
things.
sleeves on you or anything. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, table's probably
put it back in.
sticky.
Put it
Yeah.
back in.
Yeah, this is actually bothering me now. What was the other one we pulled? Because we have a few that we've collected through trading
Sure.
this set,
Yeah.
but I don't know what it is, and I now need to know, or else I'm going to go insane the rest of doing this podcast with you.
How long have you been playing Lorcana? Both of you.
So we got into it pretty close to the beginning, sort of unintentionally. So we were actually at Target and we were looking at their trading card game area. And as we were there, there was an employee that was stocking the shelves. And they just so happened to have 2 boxes of Lorcana that they were unpacking and putting back on the shelf. And it was us and one other guy standing there. And we asked him, like, hey, do you have any more, like, Lorcana stuff? And he's like, oh, well, like, this is what we have. And it was 2 set 1 troves.
Nice.
And that was it. And so we kind of looked at him and we looked at the other guy. What's the cover?
So we bought 1 trove, the other guy got the other, and he wasn't even interested in it. I'm pretty sure he wanted it to go do what we know everyone wanted to do with the troves in the first week of this game. So, but we went home and cracked it, and we had the legendary Maleficent Dragon and an Elsa legendary in it.
Nice.
Which in the beginning of the set
was awesome.
I just cracked $100 in value to legendaries essentially.
Right, yeah.
So that's how we got in. So
Yeah,
we went to Upkeep and we started buying some like cheaper singles, built some villains decks, hunted down the starter decks.
The gift sets.
Yeah, we were driving everywhere trying to hunt it down.
Yeah.
And what's we keep a sealed trove and gift set of every set now, but we cracked all of our chapter 1 stuff.
Yeah.
And we just don't want to go and pay whatever it costs now for a chapter 1 trove.
It's expensive.
It's
Yeah.
like we have a chapter 1 case that's staying sealed, and that's it. That's all we have for chapter 1.
So every now and then, it calls me.
So
So
you guys are also both TCG players and Disney fans.
Yes, I am. I'm both.
I'm a Disney fan 100%. TCG player. I come from a little bit of background, but Lorcana is the first TCG that I actually got into and like dove headfirst and did the deep dive into everything.
same.
Yeah.
We used to play Commander and Magic a lot together.
Yeah, so that's how I kind of got started. I played a handful of games, nothing too crazy, but I was like, I could do this. I could be dangerous with this if I like dedicated my entire life. And then Lorcana came out like a couple months later. I was like, all right.
That's it, take my money.
And I think that's the reason that Jess got into it was Commander. And not to talk about Magic on a Lorcana podcast, but Commander is so big and wide now that it's so hard to track what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Triggers are hard, the stack is hard, everything. And with Lorcana, we both got to come in from the beginning.
Yeah.
So we know what's going on. We know the history of the game growing over time.
Right. The thing for me was I enjoyed playing Commander, but because there are so many different cards that are in existence because of how long it's been around, it become overwhelming just to try and keep up with.
100%.
And also the fact that you think you have a plan put together, but then someone can do something to interrupt your turn, and then you get the stack and priority and all these other things, and it was a little too much for me.
Cranko, she has PTSD from Cranko models. We both do.
Franco, Yidris, Aurelia.
Yeah, some bus.
All right. Finally, what is your favorite Disney movie or show?
I have to go with. Actually, I'm torn between 2. Can I have 2?
Absolutely.
So I would say it would be between Frozen
Okay. Solid.
and Brave.
Yeah. I love Brave.
I have a little soft spot for Brave, as the first little redheaded.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah, I love Merida. But I also like Frozen because I like a lot of the story
Yeah.
that goes into it between Anna and Elsa and the relationship, and they have fun characters like Olaf that are really fun, and you got Marshmallow in there. Plus, who doesn't like the spirits?
Yeah, you're a Frozen addict, to be
Oh,
fair.
I am.
You were so excited to go see the second Frozen.
Yeah, I love the little salamander, the fire
Bruni.
Bruni. Yeah,
We love
Yep.
Bruni here.
it's so cute.
Yeah, Bruni's one of my favorites.
I'm so sad that the Bernie card isn't popular.
Yeah.
It looked so
was
good
great
when
for
they
Seal.
announced it. He was,
Really
but
good in Seal.
yeah, I feel I wanted to make him work in Purple Steel, and I just couldn't squeeze him in that slot. Is what happened.
I love Sealed. I'm definitely a big Sealed guy compared to Constructed. I think I like Sealed a little bit more. But
That's adorable.
Jacky just brought out a little Bruni plush that she has.
He's a little
for
head heavy.
Those that are
but
wondering.
He's adorable.
It's so cute.
Your favorite Disney movie?
So she got to do two, so I'm going to do two. It's So she got to do two, so I'm going to do two. It's a movie and a series. So my favorite Disney movie, if we're going the Lorcana spectrum, is just the Moana series. I absolutely love the music from the first Moana.
Yes.
So
And the Chihu song from the second Moana is absolutely addicting, and I've played it on repeat for an hour. But from a TV series, and this isn't Lorcana, is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Not the original animated Clone Wars from the 2002 to 2003 era. Don't get me wrong, that's also great. But the Clone Wars that was on Cartoon Network, that was a 3D animated one with Ahsoka Tano. She's my favorite fictional character in probably history, period, because of her character arc. But I absolutely love original Clone Wars. I know we will probably never get Star Wars in Lorcana,
sadly.
You never know.
but I can dream for Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
One day.
Kingdom Hearts.
If we get the
I'm
Dark
so in
Darkness,
for that.
For you, Pixar. I mean,
and that's what makes me think that Kingdom Hearts could possibly happen.
It could.
I would even if it wasn't the Final Fantasy characters, and we just got the Disney specific Kingdom Heart characters like Aqua, Ven, Sora, Riku,
Right.
etc., I would still be fine. I could understand if they couldn't get the Final Fantasy characters from an IP thing, especially since Magic now has a Final Fantasy set coming out this year. But it would be such a great idea if they somehow got to the Kingdom Hearts into Lorcana. It would, make it equipment or something. I don't know,
Right.
but it would be a huge boon because it would bring a whole different level of fandom into the game. And if that ever happens, I've warned my wife, Jessica here, that we're going to be going into savings because I will get every single enchanted. I will have a place that have everything. I grew up on Kingdom Hearts, and I would go crazy to have it.
Sounds like you just need to win a DLC.
I need to go to more than one DLC. I only got to go to Chicago last year. I had tickets to Fort Worth and Seattle, and I had to cancel both of those trips due to
Did you go to Toronto?
We made the decision only. So the deal was only one of us would get to Toronto, and only one of us would either get Vegas or Seattle. So she was doing Toronto, and then Seattle happened right around the time and you guys know this, our dog had his surgery,
Right.
and we had that emergency happen. So we canceled Seattle due to cost. It was just one of those, I couldn't afford the ticket at the time. I couldn't afford to even split a room with some of our friends. So I had to cancel my Seattle ticket. It's killing me inside right now that we're in a Purple Steel possible meta, and I can't do a DLC this Saturday. It is driving me insane. Like, you got to get, Dakota, you got to go to that win-a-box case tournament that ended up just being a win-a-box this past weekend. I'm dying for competitive matches, and I'm not getting them right now.
Well, good thing set champs are starting here shortly.
Oh, I am so excited.
Yep.
All right, so let's get right into it. So today is going to be a little different than normal because today Jacky is going to be interviewing myself and Mike and Jess. Myself and Mike because we casted the Game and Company 1K. It ended up being a 1.5K tournament right before the North American Continental Championship, and Jess was a competitor in it. So, Jacky.
All right. So just hopping right into it. So you guys were broadcasting the thing live on Twitch, right?
Yes.
So starting out, Tell us about the store and the 1K in general.
So the 1K, I can go into why the 1K happened and what started it.
Ooh.
Because to be honest, I probably help the store plan more things than I should, especially when it comes to Lurcon, but just because we live right down the street and we love the owners
Yeah.
and want them to
Yeah, they're
succeed
great.
since they're not even a year old yet.
Yeah.
Like we want this store to succeed, but
Sponsoring our
it's
jerseys.
yeah, exactly. I wear their jersey to every major event I go to at this point, and my wife is wearing.
new jacket.
Yeah, they
I saw
do
that. I
they
was gonna
do
compliment it.
we but no, we love the store, but it's one of those things where we notice this void with events going on right now where there was no DLC coming up that people could just go to. No one was running 1Ks. There was like this gap between the beginning of December to the middle of January where nothing that would draw a crowd was going in. So I talked with the Alyssa, the owner, and I said, I think you need to run a 1K because I assume you are going to pull in actual crowds because there's nothing going on right now. So we worked with her, Jess, myself, and then our friend Adelie that you guys know too. We worked with the owner of one of the owners, Alyssa, running through what prizing should look like if she should provide food because for their set championships, she provides food
Mhm.
and a lunch or dinner break depending on timing for people to take a break between rounds so people aren't just sitting there starving the whole day. And so we ran her through all of this, and pretty much Alyssa's hope originally was that they would get maybe 20 people. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be a true 1K, but it would still be a nice competitive event. The week leading up to the event, I got a message from Alyssa saying, "Oh my God, I have 38 people signed up for the 1K." And she had a soft cap of 48 and a hard of 50. She advertised the 48, but she was allowing 2 for just emergency scenario. Someone drove really far thinking they could get in, or someone's ticket failed, which both of those things happened the day of.
They did.
But she messaged me going that, and it was a week in advance, and I texted Dakota and had a pure ADHD moment openly admitting this. Said, "Hey, do you want to Twitch stream the 1K at Game & Co. and possibly cast it?" And we both just ran with it.
Yeah.
And it was a 3-day gap between when I sent you that first text, and then Alyssa texted me, "We're capped out at 48, and I am turning people away on the phone right now."
Yeah.
That was actually happening, and this is a small store that opened April 4th, I believe, was opening. April 6th, correct me. Thank you. April 6th of last year. So not even a year old, and they're pulling a almost 50-person crowd. It was 50 at the end.
Yeah.
And so Dakota and I refunded our tickets.
Real
And
fast.
we're like, here's 2 more tickets. I posted on Lore 20, hey, this is happening. And in doing that, I drew people from Ohio, and we had people from Illinois and Indiana come out for this thing too. I mean, Brian,
Grand Rapids.
yeah, Brian came out and he's a DLC winner from Chicago. Like that was huge. And so it went way beyond what she expected. She even so what Alyssa decided to do was she always advertised there was going to be raffles, but it was always going to be, oh, I'll raffle off a deck box or sleeves. Like she was trying to make sure she still had her margins where it made sense to run events like this. But when she got 50 people, it's like, I'm going to raffle off an enchanted.
Yeah.
She raffled off an enchanted after round 3 before the lunch break. It was a sorcerer's hat.
It was awesome.
Yeah, she raffled off enchanted. She raffled off a Stitch gift set from this set. She was raffling off packs, the deck boxes, the sleeves. Everyone was ecstatic because people just a lot of times when you go to 1Ks, if you lose out and don't go to top 8, you get nothing.
Yeah.
And it's if you drive 3 hours to get nothing.
Right.
And that's why she did that. And plus she also made it where they could change their pricing. Now it was a little bit less of a rate, but you could change your pricing to be a cash out too, in case they didn't have the product or singles or sealed stuff that other people may want. Now, ironically, they had someone buying Pokemon singles with his prize rewards, which I'm not going to blame him. It was a birthday Pikachu that did not have a signature. I completely get it because I want to buy it still. But no, it was amazing, and that's how we formed the whole thing.
I agree. It was awesome. We had a lot of fun. We set up the casting in what was it?
36 hours.
Yeah,
I checked it. It was 36 hours. We went from we're not going to do this to we had an iPhone with a wireless app running to my laptop.
We had none of this. There was
Yeah.
nothing at the store.
Well, it wasn't
We had to
just
bring it off.
you guys are going to stream like the
Top
one tape.
We started with
whatever.
just streaming the top table and then moved to Well, we might as well just cast it if we're streaming it.
And like I called you, I think at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, this thing was happening on, was it Saturday? It happened, right?
It was happening on Saturday.
Yeah, this thing was happening on Saturday morning, and I called him Wednesday night
Yeah.
at 9 p.m. from upkeep while coaching someone who was going to be playing in the 1K, who was supposed to be playing with me. I'm literally coaching someone as I'm on the phone with Dakota, going, "Are we going to do this?" And we both go, "Yeah, Bay Life, let's do it." Like, that is literally what happened. It was amazing.
So obviously you guys are good at talking, but have you ever like casted anything like this before or done anything
Outside of this podcast, no, I have not casted anything before, and I really enjoyed the whole casting. It was very interesting for me to be able to see into how different people will react with different decks and how each person plays each deck a little differently. Obviously, we saw Amber Steel a lot and Ruby Amethyst a lot, but we got to see different versions of it as well as different decisions being made when they were faced with the same challenges.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest part of it.
It was really nice seeing that and like open my eyes to the current meta a lot, because we don't, in the area we're in, we either, it feels weird, leagues are either at the different stores in this area very competitive, like to the nail matches happening,
Yeah.
or it's just fun time. And I'm not complaining about fun time either, but it's one of those when you want to get ready for a set championship or see what the meta is looking going into before something like the U.S. National Championship for Lorcana, you need these big events. And I can't remember the last big 1K that happened in Michigan before this one.
It's been a while.
I went
Yeah,
and
I was
looked
gonna
through.
say I haven't ever
been a
been to
drought.
one, so
It's been a drought for sure.
And part of that is because of set championships, because a lot of stores run set championships like a pseudo 1K.
Right.
AFK Games tomorrow is their set championship. We're probably going to go to it, and their pricing is based just around the percentages of 1K pricing would be. So they're doing their own pseudo 1K, but it's not a 1K per se.
Right.
But I will say I'm really excited because they want to do a much bigger one next time.
Yes, I'm super excited about that too. One other thing that I found very interesting casting, and like I have a new appreciation for, is when you watch the DLCs and their casting and you see them think about what the card is, or you can't see it very well because there's glare. You have a brand new appreciation for what they're going through because you're sitting there and you're like, if I remember what this card actually does,
Yeah.
I feel like I need to look it up, but I need to say something right at this moment as well. So
And we had a really janky setup for looking up the card and putting them on, because I made it the night before, like 11 p.m. in OBS.
it worked.
I was gonna say, I watched it all day. You pulled me out. Like, it looked real good. I was like, all right, this is the card I want to see. Like, I don't know all the cards. So.
I mean, I'll be honest. Looking back on it for 36 hours prep, essentially, because that's how long we really realistically
Right.
spent on this. It's amazing. It's top tier compared to DLC or like an SSG event. Completely different story. But I've already started redoing the whole OBS layout now.
Yeah.
The second we finished, I started comparing it. I got feedback from a friend of mine who does some streaming stuff.
Definitely not using an old iPhone.
Yeah, I can confirm. I can confirm with 100% certainty. I solemnly swear the store has bought their own camera for this next time for the field, and it is a much better option, and it has all been planned out.
We're excited about the next one.
I just want to put something in here, kind of a hats off to the two of you as well, and Alyssa in the store for putting this all together, because this was a huge event that got a lot more attention than I think we were really anticipating. I mean, when there's people from Ink Decks reaching out wanting the decks from the event, and Baker, for those that are familiar with like the Lorcana YouTubers, Baker Lorcana Villain, he did a presentation kind of like recapping the meta for like different events, and Game & Co was listed on this thing.
It wasn't just Game & Co either. He actually pulled one Richie.
Yeah,
Richie. He pulled Richie's deck up to give an example of a Blurple deck, which Blurple was a very good conversion rate at Nationals. Blurple and Purple Steel had great conversion rates. And it just shows, honestly, how good Blurple is right now because #Genie. But still, it's one of those things that it was so cool to see that. We didn't expect. I mean, it was the morning after Jess and I are driving to, I think we were driving to League, and I just look at her. We're 10 minutes away from our house, and I go, so and so from Inkdex just joined the Discord for Michigan and tagged you, my wife, Jess. I'm like, you just got tagged. They want the deck list. And we just sat there and went, what? It was mind blowing, completely unexpected.
It's kind of similar to the scene from The Office. Everybody's like,
It's happening. We did not expect this. Like
We did not.
Alyssa, one of the owners, she is so happy. And it isn't just for Lorcana too. This has turned them on to streaming multiple things. Like
yeah.
there's a good chance if they get the camera that we literally just purchased on the way here set up, they're going to be cracking some Prismatic Evolution ETBs from
Nice.
Pokemon to just put that out for people to see and get that as their first experiment on their own. And then they're planning on doing streams for One Piece. We set up one of the reasons I told you right before we started this podcast, Dakota, that I completely reset the whole plan that I put together for them to get stream equipment is they wanted to have the ability to put commander pods for Magic.
Yeah.
So the store is now going to be consistently streaming almost every night some type of League, One Piece, Lorcana, commander pods, whatever. And they have the ability to do this now and record it as VODs, put it up. Like it's going to be so huge for them if they're able to do this consistently and keep up with it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm super
Check it out, Game & Co. on Twitch.
Gaming Company on Twitch and YouTube.
And YouTube.
And plus, another thing that I don't think you've heard about yet, all of their One Piece players are asking them to host a One Piece 1K now too.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're
This is really good.
Yeah, and I know this is a Lorcana podcast, but I mean, I feel like LGSs need to be acknowledged here.
Yes.
And I cannot rave enough about this store and how great they are and how much they listen to their customers and what their players want. They never charge above MSRP. They're almost always MSRP or below. I've never once seen them above MSRP, honestly. They always give out raffles for big events. They always make sure that if people need a break, they're not rushing us through rounds. I mean, the first ever set championship, Alyssa just showed up with the book. She printed out every single rule.
That one she was ever event. She's so nervous. She said like the night before actually reading through and like studying the official like Lorcana rule book. And this is a case of like she had the receipts. Like
it was ready to go.
It was easy. And there were multiple judge calls during the 1K. She went up for every single one. I think there was only one time they asked me to get up to figure it out, and that was because of the pile shuffle thing. Yeah. And that they figured it out, and we moved on. It was great. There was not a single time throughout that 1K that no one felt uncomfortable. No one felt like they were threatened or in danger. Like it wasn't awesome. Like like everyone was loved and welcomed there.
Nobody had 6 babooms.
There was enough parking,
right?
I'll be honest, I'm shocked there was enough parking knowing that area, but I'm very happy there was enough parking.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it got brought up, but this was like one of the last major things before Continentals. So that's why there's definitely a lot of eyes on it, a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the bigger events that were happening right before Continentals. And it helped shape the meta in a way, which was very cool because we saw some meta from some other events that were happening around the country, but this was like the last chance for everybody to see what was actually going to happen.
Well, and you boosted the meta, and we had deck lists.
Yeah, Inkdex came, and it worked out. And when we saw the meta at Continentals, it was a pretty good match. Yeah, we weren't very far off. Yeah. So,
do you want to talk about the meta?
Yeah, let's talk about the meta a little bit here. So, at the 1K, we had 24% of it was Amber Steel. 24% was Ruby Amethyst. We had 14% Ruby Sapphire. 10% was Blurple or Sapphithist.
It's not a thing.
And we had 8% that was Amethyst Steel, and then the rest kind of followed after that. They all had fairly decent conversion rates.
I want to point something out real quick before we move on from the Sapphithist comment. No. That someone suggested that in the national championship Twitch chat.
Sepithus.
Everyone told them to go away.
Stop trying to make it happen.
Don't want something we don't want. It's Blurple. Leave it at Blurple.
I'm still going to call it Sepithus.
Oh my god.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Our conversion rates were pretty good from what we saw in the meta. 33% of it was Ruby Amethyst. 25% of it was Amber Steel, as you would expect. And then we had a lone Sepithus.
Blurple.
Blurple for everyone who doesn't know what that is and will never know what that is.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I'm going to get a t-shirt made.
Oh, you could get a t-shirt made at Gaming Company.
We could. There we go.
They do all their own printing.
There you go.
If you're interested in a Sepithus shirt, let me know and I will place an order for all of us.
Can I get one that says Sapphis isn't a thing, it's Blurple? You have one that says it is a thing, I have one that says it isn't a thing.
You can
We
write
make
on
that
it in
thing?
Sharpie if you'd like.
Okay, I love it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay, so back to the broadcasting.
Back to the broadcasting.
I guess what were some of your successes and failures that day? Or I guess that 36 hours.
I'm just going to start with the failure real quick
Sure.
here. Internet.
Yeah.
If anyone who listens to this goes and watches this, you'll discover that poor Dakota had to essentially cast round 1 and 2 almost by himself. Now, why would you think that is happening? Well, you see, that building is concrete walls. And their router, while it said it was a good enough connection to my laptop in the room that we were using that was sealed off, there were 2 concrete walls. So it was a good enough connection to download something, but not to upload something. And we were running into major bitrate problems. So I spent the first 2 rounds running around the store, moving things around, getting people to stand out of the way, because even a single person standing in that doorway could limit some of the connection. And in the middle of round 1, I drove to my house 5 minutes down the street and ripped a 100-foot Ethernet cord out of my house. I can't believe I'm admitting this, and I did put it back in this week, and everything is working still.
That's
I was
what.
quite confused when I got the notification from like the home cameras and stuff. It's like, oh, was seen, and I was like, what? Like,
So I went home. I ripped out the one cable I could get away with ripping out. Did not take too many things off the wired network in my house, and came back with a ladder. And at the end of round 1, all the participants came over and saw me on a ladder taping a Ethernet cord to the drop tile ceilings, running it from their machine room, which is a horrible place for a modem, to be honest. And we'll talk about that. I'll talk about that with them later. They know that now.
We're fixing that.
Yeah, that's being worked on actively. But it's one of those, I ran it from there all the way to this room, and people were staring at me like I had 3 heads at one point. What is this guy doing? And then someone goes, oh, that's to fix the stream. And I go, yeah, it is. And they go, good luck. It was just one of those things. It wasn't that their connection was bad. They had 100 megabits per second. It would be enough for what we were doing. There was just too many things on the network, too many things going in the background. I also had Discord open, and I didn't know Discord just sucks internet, so that hurt it. But I think from round 3.5 onward until literally the last round of the top 8, the top 2, we had almost perfect bitrate. Yeah. We were able to get things figured out. It was so much better, and luckily the recording was still going almost the entire time.
Yes.
So we still have a very good VOD recording people can go through, so I'm really proud of that we had that backup drive going the whole time for that exact reason.
I think my biggest failure of the day was definitely I misspoke on one card play. Very in particular, it was a Diablo play, and I very quickly realized it as soon as the chat let me know. But, I got called out on it. I admit it. I was wrong on that. We move forward. We keep going. But that was probably my failure of the day outside of the internet problem. My favorite parts of the day, I think, there was a couple. The interviews with the winners of each featured match was awesome.
Yeah.
Just being able to talk to them and walk through what they were thinking during the game, what they saw, what they liked was really cool, and just giving them a moment to talk about their game.
Right, because
They all-
everyone wants to talk about their deck, and like, there's so many decisions that are being made, and like getting into their
Right.
mind. I love that was my favorite part of the stream.
And then my other favorite part was at the end of the 1K, they decided at the top four that they were going to split the prize. But they all also decided that for the stream, they would all stay and play for fun and bragging rights.
By decided, he means he egged them into it.
100%.
What word? Sorry.
No shame here. But they all stayed.
Do
and
it for the
was great.
stream. Do it for the viewers. I mean, we had like 20 to 30 people sitting there waiting for 15 to 20 minutes, just waiting
In
for us to
between
start.
rounds.
Waiting for us to start round 4.
Yeah.
And they're all voting to split. And Dakota just goes, "Can all right? We actually have people watching this, and this is the source first ever stream. Can we keep going with you guys playing? Like, split the prize is fine, but can we go for bragging rights?" And no one questioned it. They all said, "Let's go."
Let's do this.
They were like, "Let's do this right now." It was amazing. It honestly, it made me so happy to see that.
It's just such a great community. And
Yeah.
this is what you kind of expect out of the community at this point, just because everybody is so great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was your other favorite part?
I think you know my favorite part. I love having Brian on the stream with us for top 8 and top 4.
Top 8 and
believe.
top
I think
4.
so,
yes.
Yeah, he was on there for top 8 and top 4. I really appreciate that. I mean, it was a lot of insight I didn't think about at times.
Yeah.
I know we did end up talking more to ourselves than casting at some points. But to be fair, a lot of it was still about the game and Lorcana as a whole. It was just generalized, well, what would you do in this situation? And I think part of that is because we saw so much Amber Steel that day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can only think of 2 rounds we cast where Amber Steel wasn't on the field.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And one of them was I forced it so we didn't have another Amber Steel
Right.
in our match. So I made sure we got the Blurple versus the Ruby Sapphire decks
Right.
in there so we could get some different. Because to be fair, at that point, those 2 we thought would be fighting for a chance of top 8
Yeah.
in that 6th round. We didn't know that the entire top 8 would just decide to draw in. And then they realized after they did that one of them would get knocked out still, and that they should have never done that.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I ended up having
Always play it to the end.
I actually ended up having to play against one of the guys that bubbled last weekend at that Winterbox.
Yep.
In the top 4, was that top 2 or top 4?
Top 4.
Yeah, it was top 4. I had to play against him.
Yep.
That was a fun match, but still,
Super cool.
like, just for anyone listening, do your math if you're going to ID.
Double check your math.
And don't trust your opponent just saying, "Oh, you're good," unless you actually know them as a friend, in which case they're going to have to face consequences if they're lying to you. Let's be honest. But
Right.
seriously, do your math and make sure, because one person who probably should have been in the top 8, to be honest, especially because of how well he was playing all day,
He was playing really well.
did not get in.
Yeah.
And you win some, you lose some, and you learn lessons, but always double check the math if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lessons learned. I don't really have it now.
So let's talk about Jess's day. Jess, you competed.
I did.
How was your day? How did you do? What did you play?
Wait.
Let's start with what you played.
Feel sad.
I know, that's my line. So I started off playing Ruby Amethyst.
Nice.
It was a deck that I played pretty consistently. It was a deck that I played whenever we were in the set championships, the very first ones back in England.
I remember it very well.
I
In
was about to say,
the old days.
Dakota's very familiar losing a top 2 to me. And he's scarred by 2 names at this point.
We're going to have to talk about it.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Leave that for later.
Good times. Anyways, so it was a deck I was pretty familiar with and pretty comfortable with, and so I decided to pick it back up and try going with it. And I started off round 1 mirror match. I'm like,
Yeah.
great slugfest. But the thing was, he was actually running a slightly different version, and I don't know if he just didn't get the draws that he was looking for or what, but it ended up going a lot quicker than what we kind of anticipated. And so that one ended, and I was like, oh, cool. If this is, this is going to be a mirror. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Then round 2, I get paired against one of our friends we play it with League, Chris, and it was another mirror match. And I was like, oh my gosh, again.
And I would like to preface, this is not anything aimed at either her or Chris playing. They are notorious for their mirror matches at League taking the entire time because they know how each other plays, what their preference and styles are, everything.
Yeah.
And so
so that was a bit more difficult because that was more along the lines of like an actual true genuine mirror match compared to round 1. But we ended up pulling out the dome.
Hey.
There you go.
So that was fun. And Chris and I talked afterwards, and it really just kind of come down to who was going to top deck the answers first and get to all their good stuff first. But it all worked out. And then round 3, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. I got 2 wins under my belt. Let's go. And I got paired against Diggy Diggy Hole.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And she was not prepared for Diggy Dig, I'm pretty sure.
Diggy Diggy dug me. Threw me straight in there. That was rough. Game 1, might as well just not even been playing. I did not have a chance. It was not remotely close. Game 2, I was pretty proud of, though. I at least broke 10 lore.
Hey.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of that one. It got to the point where I couldn't get any more of my draw and bounce stuff that I was looking for, or any of my removal stuff, and Diggy gonna Diggy and Diggy Dug. So they closed out game 2 pretty quickly after that. Then from there it just kind of started tumbling downhill for me a little bit. So they didn't quite end as well as what I was hoping to, but I wasn't last.
That's what matters. That's what matters.
But even though the day didn't go as well as what I was hoping for it to go, I still had so much fun. Just meeting all these people. Some of them were players that we knew from just playing at other shops and meeting people at what are they called? The challenges.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of people from Michigan that go to these.
Right.
And so it was good to see some familiar faces that we haven't seen in a while and get to catch up a little bit. But then also meeting a lot of new people. I mean, there was someone that came all the way from Midland, Michigan, which is
Yeah.
And so it was really cool just getting to nerd out with everybody and talking Disney and
I love the Lorcana crowd. Like everyone's so easy to get along with and just have a conversation and hang out with all day. It's awesome.
We've made so many friends. I mean, we
met
you guys. Right? we've made so many friends that we would have never known or met. It's changed our lives for so much for the good. At the time, honestly, post-COVID, world recovering from just the way the whole world changed, and it really came in at a very good time.
It was a breath of fresh air.
It really was. We needed it.
Yeah, that was because one of the things when we would play Commander was that it was always really like heavy and intense and I guess in a way kind of like overly competitive.
Yes.
Since to the point where like it wasn't as fun anymore.
Sure.
And a lot of the skills from Magic transfer to Lorcana.
Right.
And so it was pretty easy for us to pick it up. And I could sit here and talk all day about all the friends and all the good and stuff that's come out of it. There's people that, we've known for maybe a year, a little over a year. And it feels like we've known them our whole lives. They're like family, And it's to the point now that we've done so many events, we've gone to so many different stores that it's difficult to go to a local game store and not know at least one person.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is so much fun. And you don't even have to remember each other's names, but you're like, hey, I know your face.
Hey.
Right. I know your face and I know what deck you're playing.
Can't tell you how many times that's happened.
It's fun. But, sometimes you remember people with a little PTSD.
Right. Well, mostly fun. Did you win any of the raffles?
No, I did not.
Oh,
Not that day.
darn.
I did not win any raffles that day. I was hoping out for maybe the Enchanted or
She wanted our Enchanted back because we traded that one in.
Yeah, so we got to see our own Enchanted raffled off. Went to a good home. It's fine. Everything's
Yeah.
fine. No, we're gonna trade it away. We weren't okay parting with it though.
Yeah.
So that was good. I was hoping for that, and then not gonna lie, I was also low key hoping for that Stitch portfolio set.
Right?
It's a nice set.
They
I
are
like it.
sweet.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Did you guys get one?
Yeah, we have one.
Okay, yeah.
They're so bright and so vibrant. I love the
Yeah.
colors and the art on it. I'm like, dude, these are awesome. Like more of these, please.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, please.
more of those, please, but better quality control. Because like some of them are coming with binder cracks. I mean, the first one we cracked, the first one we opened, the binder was fine quality wise. There was no cracks or anything like a few of our friends had, except the bottom row of slots in the pages is too small for me to fit a sleeved card.
Oh,
I have to.
like too narrow?
It's
Like-
whatever
Yeah.
stitched it just stitched it off by a few
Yeah.
millimeters.
Oh,
I
that's
have to put
funny.
the card unsleeved in there, so I don't use that binder.
Right.
yeah.
You
And
just
I reached out to
cringe.
Ravensburger. I still haven't heard back, Ravensburger.
I know they were doing replacements.
Yeah, I need to message them again because I reached out right at the beginning. I'm sure it got lost in the ether
Right.
Yeah, it
Right.
randomly slammed.
or lost in the ink.
Ah.
See what you did there.
Well, on that note,
Oh, on that bombshell, everyone.
So overall, amazing day. We
Yes.
all had a lot of fun.
Yep.
We're doing it again.
yeah,
That's
it's
all.
last to
Oh.
watch. You guys
Oh.
are great.
100%.
Oh, there's talks.
It's
The
The
next
wheels are
one is going to
turning.
be
bigger
wild.
and better
They-
every time.
Oh shit. Billy Mays here. But wait, there's
Have you ever heard of a 2-day weekend event?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. One maybe good.
Yeah.
You never know.
Just add a 0 to the 1 for the 1K.
Yeah.
Ooh.
If you want to rewatch any of the feature matches, it is on the Game and Company YouTube channel as well as the Legends of the Inkwell YouTube channel. You can check them both out there. So let's hop into a little bit of news or non-news.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we want to talk about Worlds coming up
Yeah,
potentially?
Let's talk about
Eventually?
Worlds.
Fingers
Um,
crossed.
So we know that we're getting the Whole New World promo, and I think that's about all the information we have. We don't
Yeah.
know the dates of Worlds.
Hey.
We know where they are.
We know it'll be at Disney World.
We know it'll be
We know
at
that.
Disney World.
Yeah, I wish they would announce so I could go book the room. I need to book the room. I have points to book the room. Let me book the room.
We need to book flights. We got to do a lot of stuff
Yeah,
to get ready for this.
I'm totally down to go, but I will say there's 2 whole new worlds. So
Yes.
Worlds participants get a foil one. Attendees can earn the regular non-foil one.
Similar to the Cinderella's, Rapunzel's,
and the
DLCs.
Baymaxes and the Cuscos with
Right.
the current stuff. So my intent is if we can get down, I want a full playset of the non-foil
Yeah.
whole new worlds.
Oh, yeah.
If not knowing the rules yet, obviously, but if we can pull that off, it would be great. I
Yeah.
would love that.
They look really cool.
I regret not getting a playset of the Rapunzel promos.
all the DLC promos
Oh
are
yeah.
sweet. They're
Not
just
not
so
gonna
cool.
lie, I went a little stint where I was running a green steel deck and I splashed in the DLC promo of Big Cindy.
Yeah.
And it was
Feels
you
good
get
to
a certain
play,
little
you know.
feeling and satisfaction. Just
Look,
It's a little,
down this
tiny
promo.
intimidation
And-
factor.
well, I mean,
roll out my champion man and
No.
throw in Big Cindy, you know.
not only that, but we only have 4 Rapunzels, one of which is the
Challenge.
the challenge one. We had 5, but someone needed one.
Yeah, I did need one.
So
I still use
That's
it.
okay.
I know.
It's now
yeah.
it's now in Jacky's new deck.
I do regret not getting more of those. But we did get the playmat. That's why we
Yep.
went crazy
Right.
for it.
Yeah.
We really wanted the playmat. And I am excited for Worlds. I just want to be there and enjoy the
Yes.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Even if it's not to attend an event, this is going to sound crazy. I just want to be there and watch
Yeah.
it in person.
Yeah.
Cap
Vibes.
just cap off the entire awesome year that
Right.
Lorcana had this
Yeah.
year.
Right.
I mean, the beginning was rough for sure.
Right.
Of the beginning of this whole game existing. There was no denying or avoiding that problem there.
Right.
We have to accept it. Thank
We
you.
made it through it.
Yeah, they've gotten better.
They have, and thank you to
accessible.
a certain developer for keeping it going for the first 3 sets with all of his love and dedication to a certain game.
Yep.
So, but really, this has been amazing. It's been life-changing. It's honestly been life-changing for both of us, and in such a good way.
I'm really hoping at Worlds they announce the next DLC season.
Ugh, I'm waiting.
So that we can just start booking.
Well, did you see the
waiting.
jobs that got listed today?
There was a bunch.
They listed 3 major jobs at Ravensburg specifically around running events. There's a senior tournament manager, there's a director of communications, and there's another one. I forget exactly what it was.
So it's in the works.
And they just recently, it was probably a week or 2 ago, posted the online development one. So that will be cool too.
And they want someone who is familiar with Marvel Snap to a degree.
Yeah.
So it's likely they're going to already have some type of background, or well, I don't say background in the game, but background software to start building with to help force us out faster.
Right. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
And I'll be honest, they had a posting like that listed back when Pixelborn was removed the first time.
Right.
When Pixelborn disappeared in the beginning. So I'm sure they've already been working on it in background.
Yeah.
I honestly have a feeling what's going on right now is that Ravensburger thought, oh, we're going to make a fun game. A few people are going to play it like Villainous. And I shouldn't say a few people, a ton of people play Villainous. It's very popular now.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were prepared to come into the void of TCGs that is happening right now from Hasbro just completely wallet fatiguing everyone with all these new sets in Magic. That's one of the reasons I don't play Magic. I'm tired of paying for a new set every month.
Right.
It's insane. And there was this void of a family friendly but could still be competitive TCG.
Yeah.
And the Disney IP is such a good fit.
So good.
It's brilliant.
It was genuinely, absolutely genius to do this.
Yeah.
And I know they said they had up to set 10 designed when set 1 released. And I've heard that from rumors that they're already at 20 at this point. I think Disney's approved them to go up to like 20 or something sets already. So I think the mouse
I'll be here through it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think the mouse and Better Bob have realized at this point that this just prints money and they need to stick with it. And if they do that, I will be so happy, especially since we have an Elsa already, so we're good to go.
Right.
Hearing in regards to Lorcana is that we're
Oh boy.
Stop it. Wrong franchise.
And I'm also hoping that we don't have to wait till Worlds to get a Lorecast for set 7.
Oh, I'm
no. There's no.
Ashes Island.
How are we going? No, Worlds is not. There's.
Just saying, we don't have a Lorecast planned right now, and I'm hoping we get one soon.
Set 7 releases in a month, essentially.
Yeah,
a month and a half. Set 7 is going to release before Worlds, hands down, because you gotta think about it. The winners of the Australia DLC,
as well as set 8, right?
Right.
Jafar's.
Right, exactly. But my point is that there's going to have to be a Lorecast in a week or 2. Yeah. They have to. Something has to happen, and they need to announce that Companions is happening.
I think they'll probably do the Lorecast and announce World at the Lorecast.
That would make the most sense.
As well as hopefully Disney Quest.
I mean, too. I don't think any of the DLC winners or anyone that's invited to Worlds even knows when Worlds is.
Right.
It sounds like they
have to make plans.
Right. And
specifically because they need to play in it.
Yeah, right.
But that's what makes me think it's going to be April, because to be honest with you, the beginning of February is DLC Melbourne.
True.
And so top 1 and 2 from there get automatic invites to Worlds.
Right.
For that one, it's not top the winner. It's top 1 and 2 to add to Worlds. So there is no way they're going to host it in March and give them a month to plan flying around the world. That would be complete. If they did that, that would be such a bad take. I'm assuming they're going to make Worlds April, so that way there is a month of time from when Arcasia's, I hope I'm saying it right. Arcasia's Island releases in Big Box. Yeah. Because they have to wait for Big Box just to make sure everyone has access, because there's areas where people can't get to their local game store and they just have a Walmart or a Target.
Yeah.
So they need to wait for Big Box at minimum. And so I expect Worlds to be end of April.
I'm
That is-
selfishly hoping it's March so that in April we can start getting DLCs again.
I have a feeling they're going to start doing DLCs anyway.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure DLCs probably May would be a good guess for the first one.
It's the first time. I think that's the date when the first one was last year.
Was it beginning of May?
It's beginning of May.
Chicago was the second, and that was like the beginning of June.
Right.
Yes.
So-
The May one was the end of May. It was 2 weeks before Chicago.
Yeah.
Because remember, it was right in that gap between it. So it was a case of set for released, but it would not be included
Right.
in the
It
Right.
wasn't
in
legal
the
for
it
the
wasn't legal for DLC.
Chicago.
And that's why I'm thinking that it's going to be April, because they did that around big box release.
Right.
They've always made the DLCs around big box release, so I imagine Worlds will be the same situation. It's going to be around big box release.
Unless they make it earlier and then do what they did for the first DLC and those cards aren't legal.
I don't expect that at all, because you're going to have a DLC before that. They're going to want to shake up the play in the meta so we don't see the exact same stuff again. That is the way they should do it. They seem to have this cadence
Yeah,
of
I
2
agree.
events
There's definitely a cadence.
between meta shakeups.
Right.
And we're going to have 3 now. We're going to have the EU Continentals, the NA Continentals, and the Melbourne. So it's going to be 3. They're not going to do a 4th. It wouldn't make sense. You start out 7 with a bang with the champion, with the Worlds.
It'll be cool. Either way, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So, what do we think? What do you think is going to be revealed first? The next Lorecast for Set 7? Or announcing the dates for World?
I think the Lorecast, because I think they'll announce the dates at the Lorecast. That's my guess.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I have to agree too.
They can't just announce Worlds with a. They can't just announce Worlds with a post on Facebook or Twitter.
Right.
It's just that's just not
Yeah.
realistic. They have to drum up something for it. And
Right,
I'm
there's
sure
too much information they have to get out.
I think the last Lorecast they had 3,000 people watching it at its peak or something like that. I'm sure that if they announce a Lorecast, they're going to get way more, because everyone is going to target in and go, "Hey Ryan, when's Worlds?"
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Plot twist. What if they announce Worlds, the dates, before the Lorecast, but they announce the details of what the side events and everything else during the Lorecast?
That's definitely possible.
That I could see that happening.
Yeah, that's possible.
You know, like how they should have given us more notice for the events for the attendee badges at the national championship, because then I would have actually bought an attendee badge and flown out.
It's okay to feel sad.
And the attorney is sitting back against me. Good job.
I think that's all we had for this episode. Let's do This Week in Lorcana. So let's start with Jess. Jess, what did you do this week in Lorcana?
So this week in Lorcana, we play League 2 times a week. We did Sunday at Upkeep and Howl, and that one I went 2-1.
All right.
Nice.
And that was running my new deck.
Yeah, that was wearing your new secret deck that we are not going to share anything about here.
That was my my new Secret Spice deck. And then
So
Monday.
this episode just got a lot longer. Let's talk about this deck.
Oh,
Stealing.
oh, he knows what color.
Byron.
Totally. She's bringing Red Steel Pirates to set championships. I mean, people are going to know tomorrow anyway. Like,
Yeah.
someone's going to say it, and then they're going to go, "I didn't know that could actually work." And they're going, "Oh, no." There's some special spice. She had Avery freaking out when she played it on him.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So little Secret Spice. So then that was Sunday, and then I took that same deck to League at Game & Company in Walled Lake on Monday. And that one, I went 2-0 against you. And you were on, what was that one?
Oh, okay. Well, but you went
played
to
a special deck.
I played a special brew that the Lore 20 crew knows about at this point, because I posted it a few weeks ago.
Nice.
But
Yeah, so he's looking at keeping that one under wraps too. Right?
oh no, the list is out there. I've shared it with so many people at this point, and it's almost working. If I ever get it working, it's going to be so fun and thematic. But
Just you wait. Yeah, so that one, the first round went pretty solid for me. I basically drew everything I needed. Round 2 was against Avery, I think.
Yep.
And that was a slugfest.
Yep.
He was running Blurple
Yeah, Cephadist.
and Blurple, yeah.
Mhm.
And
No, he wasn't. He wasn't running Blurple.
yeah, he was running Blurple with me.
No, he ran Steel Song, remember?
Oh.
Yeah, that was the Steel Song match.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're mixing that. No, you ran against Steel Song because that was the whole Cindy thing that we were talking about afterwards. Yeah, when he double shifted
So
you.
it wasn't Cephadist.
No, it was not
it was not
Blurple.
Blurple. No, yeah, that's right. That's right. It was Blurple the week before. Yeah, so this past week was Steel Song. And it was a case of I was pretty proud that I dealt with 2 big Cindy's. 3 big
You dealt with 2 big Cindy's in a row, then
and
you
a
dropped the
Robin
third.
Hood.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And a Robin
All
Hood.
right.
Yeah, dealt with all of that. I was like, let's go. And then it was a similar situation, like game 1, like he kind of just took it and ran with it. Game 2, I'm like, all right, now I know what you're playing. Like,
Yeah.
let's go, lock in.
And to be fair,
it got interesting.
you were still learning the ins and outs of the changes you made to the
I mean, yeah, it was only
formula
the second
for your
time
deck.
I
Like,
played the deck.
It's once you're still figuring it out, but I think tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun. I think you're going to do pretty well now that we've got some routes figured out.
Yeah.
What did you do this week in Lorcana, Mike?
I went to Upkeep Hal for League on Sunday and Game and Co for League on Monday. I know everyone's surprised. I was 2-1 at Upkeep Hal. Jess and I both lost to the same person, and I will be honest, I should not have lost. I misplayed and lost both games. Straight up.
Saturday, we went to the Winnabox.
Yeah.
You also did that this week.
Oh yeah, my God, you're right. I wasn't counting that. This is Friday. Yeah, I won a box. And that's a good point. So I snuck in at 8th in the top 8 cut because my tiebreakers are great on account of all my matches were 1-2s or 2-1s. Or 2-0s. Essentially, it was either 1-2s or 2-0s, and so my tiebreakers are great, which got me through. So I mean, you saw me; I clapped and almost screamed when I realized I got into top 8. I'm like, okay, I was excited, but I also felt bad for you because you drove me and you were stuck there. But you stuck around, you stuck through it all. I went through. My top 8 match was. I didn't think I'd ever see it again. Discard. And I got rolled in game 1 because I molded my hand completely wrong, thinking it would be like a diggy hole. And he turn 1 Diablo'd me after inking something that was steel. I forget what it was. And I just took the deep sigh, and he goes, "Oh, what was that for?" And I just said, "I don't feel like playing against discard." So I thought we were free of discard, and then Zan decided to make it a thing again. So we ran through. I got rolled game 1, game 2 and 3. I complete control.
Oh yeah,
because I like I said, I run purple steel predominantly 24. Almost every week I run purple steel. It's rare I try something different.
Steelist.
Yeah, stop it now. It's trying to steal. You're getting out of hand. But no, I once I knew what to expect in that, it was so much easier to deal with. Don't get me wrong, they were still very hard games, but they weren't nearly as hard as round 4. Round 4 was a Ruby Amethyst matchup, and oh my God, you watched that.
Yeah.
You saw how
really
down to the wire that got. The only reason I won was I did the math right on the last turn. If I didn't do that math right, I was getting kicked out. It was just a case of he had exerted his big Sisu. I had a fox in hand. I was able to bounce a goat back to hand. He couldn't win next turn, and I would have been at 19-4.
Yeah.
That was literally it. That's the only reason I won that game. It was proper goat bouncing. Having good control of knowing when to keep goat in my hand and when to put goat in the field. That's really it. And then we went to top 2 and we agreed to split the prize. And then I said, okay, because the pricing was, it was going to be 20 packs for second, 28 packs for first. And we were just like, can we just get 2 sealed boxes? Yeah. And then so that guaranteed us each a sealed box. And we said, we'll split the prize. And we were actually, I asked him to play for bragging rights. And he goes, yeah, let's do them. Like, well, you're on Red Faucet, right? He was doing
Yeah.
really good for us. He's like, yeah, what are you on? I'm like, oh, I'm on purple steel, but I can run it as aggro or mid the way my deck's designed. And he's like, I'm just going to let you take the win in. You're not going to deal with it, apparently.
Didn't even want the bragging.
I was like, what's wrong? He's like, I'm not. He's like, no, I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start driving home. So technically, I do have the win because he was just like, I'm not doing this. Let's take our pricing and go.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy about it. I mean, I'm not happy that like he can see, but I'm very happy that after I didn't get to compete in the 1K and I was chomping at the bit the whole time to do it, I finally got to go to the competitive, and I had to go against 2 different Let It Go winners that day.
Yeah.
And I felt amazing, and I now know I'm actually a decent player, which makes me feel great.
Hey, there we go.
I will say, I went to Upkeep, was 2-1 on Sunday when Jess and I went to league together. We lost same person. I misplayed. That's the way things happen. Monday, I did not play Purple Steel the whole time.
What?
Game 1 was a deck that I call Mickey and his Knights. It is a diggy hole variant that's all Musketeers and Knight themed. It works really well, except I don't have the code correct yet. I'm trying to get it just
Gotta
right where
tweak it in a little.
yeah, I gotta get my draws better, etc., and figure out when I need to play the dock, hold the dock, etc., things like that. I'm working on that. And then I was going to play it for round 2, but we have a new person that joined the league there recently, so we only had 5 that night because everyone was worn out. And so I just asked the store manager, I'm like, hey, he's got the bye right now. Would you mind giving him the round? Like, I'm sorry, I was like, would you mind giving me the bye and letting him come in so he can get experience playing? Because
Yeah.
I don't need it, and he's new to the game. Let's get him experience before
he's
it's that
still
championship. But he was still learning, and he was running Purple Steel, and I played him last week, so he won that match, which was great. So then he and I ended up getting matched anyway in round 6, and I just sat there and said, I'm not going to run Purple Steel against you. We did this last week. You've made some adjustments to your deck after I helped you with stuff, which is great, but I don't want you to do this again, so I'm going to run a different deck. So I took out my new nuclear bomb of a deck, which is Baja Blast Oswald.
Oh.
So that is a case where I have cracked the Da Vinci Code.
Well, I'm excited to see it.
I can turn 5 double dime consistently.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Gross.
I did it, and he didn't know dime yet, and he looked and read it. He goes, what is happening? And he was, and he's running Purple Steel, and he has spot removal, and I'm holding the ward aerial that gets +2 lure, and I'm just sitting here at 8
Treasure
lure,
Hunter.
and I'm just going, I'm probably going to win next turn, but I'm not going to tell him that because it runs Diablos, so I get to see their hand. I run the 2-drop Ursulas. I can rip songs out. Like, I still have that green hate in the deck, but I have the blue. I mean, that's what green is at this point in Lorcana, let's be honest. But I have the blue ramp ability that Sail into Azurite Sea is such a good card. It is amazing, but I can just roll out with that and just instantly get to. I had 8 ink on turn 5 because I was running I got 2 Sails and a Tipo out, and I was in great shape with that, and I had a Hiram in hand. I played Hiram, I got my Hypnotic Deduction. I already had the 2 Oswalds out, so I Hypnotic Deduction, already had 1 dime in hand, got another dime, put dimes 1 and 2 on the top of the deck, kept an Inkable, dropped the Inkable, and which double triggers Oswald, 2 dimes come into play tapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
wild.
he's
Insane.
he's running a mid range he's running a mid range Purple Steel deck, so he's at 9 lore, and I'm holding the aerial in my hand still with 8 ink on board now.
Yeah.
So I can just start doing things, and then I drew prepare it up the next turn.
Yeah.
Off of cracking the high run. So it was just one of those things, like, I've now cracked the code with that deck, and I'm fighting every fiber of my being not to run it at set championships tomorrow.
Do it.
Do it.
I want if I want my scar first. Once I get a scar, I'll start playing around. No. We
Just do it.
You know how we are. I want to place a set of Ursulas. I want to place a set of Mirabelles. I want to get my play set of scars. Period. I'm going to stick with that.
Let's do it.
That has been. Oh, and our week was also staring at the table of cards we need to sort.
Yeah.
It is really bad.
Yeah, we started getting through ours, but
What did you do this week in Lorcana, Jacky?
Well, I have not been confident in any decks, so we did a lot of deck testing this week. So I did
Lot
not
of
go to
deck
any. We didn't go to. I didn't go to any league. I don't know if you did, but yeah, we did a lot of games, just seeing what I was gonna do, and I think I made up my mind. So
We're going to see how that goes.
Here's what you do: just run 3 libraries, because apparently that's how you win North American championships.
Yeah,
thought it was
it's
6
true.
rooms.
yeah,
Never living that down, and I love it.
Never. So yeah, lots of playtesting.
yeah, let's play testing secretly.
So I also did a lot of playtesting to help Jacky pick a deck and also help myself pick a deck because I've been searching for. I don't want to run a meta deck, so I'm trying to search for a non-meta deck that I like. And well, I don't know. We might be there. We might not. I don't play a new deck on Sunday, so
I have some lists I can share with you. I've made 102 decks in Dreamborn this set.
yeah, that's a lot.
You might have a problem.
You might have a problem. We'll talk about this after. I also went to the Winnabox tournament, and I went 1-3 with a new deck that I was trying out that didn't really work out very well. And then watched the North American Continental Championships while Mike played games next to me.
Continentals was great.
Yeah, Continentals was great. And while they were on break, I was able to watch everybody else who was winning play, and then went back to watching the stream. So
I do have to say, I'm not going to say what the deck was, but I do think you can make that deck work.
I think I can make that deck work. I definitely need. I have 2 different cards that I think I want to come out of it, and 2 that I want to put into it and try. I don't know that I'm going to try it as set champs though.
And so I will say that deck can.
I need a little more practice.
Jess has experimented with a variant of that deck back in Ursula's return.
Yeah.
And it was almost, it's one of those, it's almost there.
It's almost
and
there.
I know someone's going to eventually crack it. And I think Lorcana, especially with how wide the meta is right now, don't listen to everyone saying red blue's everything. Red blu's horrible right now, but no one's willing to
really
accept
bad
it
right now.
Like,
I know you're red blue player.
I would like. I seriously, there. So people tell me, "Well, watch out for sharks this weekend." I'm just going to play a Pete.
Yeah.
The shark means nothing now. I'll just keep repeating. My deck is called Repeat for a reason.
Right.
So, but no, it's I think you can make that work. Though.
I think I can make it work.
I think though
this other deck that I'm trying is kind of similar. We'll see if it works.
Looking at the cards you asked for, I'm pretty sure I know what you're trying.
I'm trying something. We'll see what happens. But that's all we had for today. So thanks for joining, and remember to check us out on Instagram and YouTube, Legends of the Inkwell, and we'll see you next time.
And remember, it's a great day to have a great day.